we jump on the quarterback carousel going on in Foxboro. After cutting Bailey Zappe and Malik Cunningham and then placing them both on the practice squad, the Pats today claiming quarterback Matt Corral off waivers. Corral was drafted in the 3rd round by the Panthers last season and spent the year on IR with a foot injury. He was actually drafted with the pick Carolina acquired from the Patriots, the same pick that the Patriots used to acquire to draft Bailey Zappe. Small world, goes around, comes around. Here is the tale of the tape as it appears. Corral could take Zappe's job as Mac Jones' backup, both on the smaller size. Corral with no NFL game experience, while Zappe did get his feet wet last year. So anyone hoping for the Patriots to bring a veteran to guide Mac Jones, it seems we are all out of luck. Yes, the Patriots have added a quarterback, and it is not a veteran to guide Mac Jones, which kind of makes me feel like maybe the Patriots aren't sold on Bailey Zappe, and maybe he's not the only one. Hello and welcome to Arbella Early Edition. I am Trenni Casey. Welcome to New England. Matt Corral. For those of you who are not familiar, here is the scouting report on Corral from SI before last year's draft. They wrote this: Corral throws with a quick release and the above average arm strength and the mobility to make and extend plays. Improved decision making and ball placement helped Corral cut down on interceptions. Not bad, right? Think about this. A mobile quarterback with an above average arm who's younger than Mac Jones. Anyone else thinking what I'm thinking? That this might be about more than not liking Bailey Zappe? That maybe the Patriots aren't sure what they have in Mac Jones, so they go after another young quarterback with upside because they found out Zappe wasn't the answer? Whatever the reason, the Patriots don't seem to have a good answer at the most important position on the football field. So they're going to keep throwing darts. I guess such is life in Foxboro circa 2023. All right, that was one SI scouting report. The other one, not as rosy, by the way. This one courtesy of our friend Albert Breer, who talked to an anonymous offensive coordinator to get a scouting report prior to the 2020 draft. This is what that scout told Bert. Not exactly an altar boy. He's kind of a mess. He got into a fight with one of Wayne Gretzky's kids in high school that led to his transferring, and there'd been questions about his maturity his first couple of years at Ole Miss. You hear he's a big party guy. This guy, it's all zone read. He's looking at one defender and throwing behind him. There are character concerns. I'm not sure you want him leading your program. His sorts of issues aren't the kind solved by giving a kid millions of dollars. Okay, so a little mixed bag there on Matt Corral, the OK Corral. Tommy Curran down in Foxboro joining us live. Phil Perry here in studio. Phil, you watch a lot of college football, a lot of film. What's your reaction to the Patriots signing this guy, and what are they getting in Matt Corral? Yeah, a good athlete, somebody who can move, and you saw some of the clips from when he played the Patriots in the preseason last year. He can move around, and I think that is important to the Patriots in terms of something that they would want in their quarterback room, which they really didn't have outside of Malik Cunningham, and who knows how much time he's actually getting practicing at quarterback. You need a scout team quarterback who can move. They haven't had one for a long time. They're going to see mobile quarterbacks just about every other week in the NFL. So he has some athleticism. He has a better arm than Bailey Zappe. Talking to my good friend Tom Curran earlier today, I said he sounds a little bit like Bailey Zappe on a Mario mushroom. He's a little bit taller, he's a little faster, his arm's a little stronger, so he's a better physical prospect than Bailey Zappe. But like Bailey Zappe, Tom, he's going to have to deal with some of the things that Zappe has had to deal with this summer, which is you're coming from a very college offense. Everything's spread out, a lot of RPOs, and he'll be able to handle those RPOs that Bill O'Brien will throw at him. But how about the other stuff? Under center, footwork on big play action shots down the field, turning your back to the defense. These are things that would be relatively new for him, and so to me, make him a projection. But let's be clear, he's a 3rd-round pick. This guy's not drafted to be a starting quarterback. He was a 3rd-round pick. He was drafted in all likelihood to be a backup, but he's a backup with some upside. Yeah, he's a developmental prospect just like Bailey Zappe. To me, you're looking at a player who the Patriots are bringing in because Bailey Zappe floundered this summer. They're bringing in basically, as Phil pointed out, a carbon copy. Had Bailey Zappe performed better in August, I'm sure he wouldn't have been exposed to the league. And I'm sure that Matt Corral would still be either on the Carolina practice squad or someplace else. So this is an effort to find out whether or not he can beat out Bailey Zappe. This is not about Mac Jones, in my estimation. Somebody's going to have to stand there behind Mac Jones and fill in. I would imagine when the games begin, that will be Bailey Zappe because of experience in the system. It will take a look down the road for the development of either Zappe or Corral to try and pin down whether or not the Patriots would ever feel comfortable if Mac peters out
and doesn't have a second contract, whether they could be either a successor or a stopgap until the successor is unearthed.
Hey, Curran, you mentioned that you think Bailey Zappe will be the guy to probably start behind Mac just because of his familiarity with the offense. But do you think Matt Corral has more talent, is better than Bailey Zappe, and at some point will supplant him as the number 2 on the depth chart?
On August 31st, yeah. I've just been digesting Bailey Zappe's limitations for the last 45 days, and I didn't think he was, the end-all be-all last year. To me, his ceiling was a spot starter in the NFL who could get you through a portion of a season and could be a Brian Hoyer. Maybe not even a Brian Hoyer, who started many times and got teams to the playoffs. But now I've kind of moved off of that, and I think that Matt Corral can be a better player. He's bigger, he's faster, he's got a better arm, he went to a bigger college and was more successful there. Bailey Zappe amassed a lot of numbers at a smaller school, and this summer we've seen his indecisiveness, lack of accuracy, and physical limitations come to the fore. So who's a better player? Probably Matt Corral, which is what the NFL thought last year as well.
Hey, Phil, I know that when we were talking about this just yesterday, you said you would love for them to bring in a veteran. You wanted to see, you were not Colt McCoy, you were Case Keenum, right? Was that your guy? Yeah, you were Case Keenum.
Happy to throw out Case Keenum every show.
Are you surprised that that's not the direction the Patriots went in?
A little bit, just because right now, between the 2 backups, Bailey Zappe and Matt Corral, I don't think you have somebody who's ready to jump in week 1 for Mac Jones in case the worst case scenario happens. Again, to Tom's point, Bailey Zappe, bad summer. So bad that the Patriots determined he's not worthy of a 53-man roster spot, and they're willing to dangle him in front of the rest of the league to see if they will take him off their hands. He's back on the practice squad, and maybe he'll be there for a lengthy period of time, but you have to be ready to let go of a guy forever when you do what they did with him. And Corral has no experience in this system. So to me, I would guess, like Tom, that Zappe, because he understands things, would be the 2. But again, one's on the 53-man roster, one is not. If you could have made something like Case Keenum work and have him understand what he's looking at when he goes out there in an emergency situation, I think you'd feel better about that. But you have a more promising prospect in Corral here because he has significant upside based on his physical talent.
This move, Tom, I think is making people wonder as well, who decided that Bailey Zappe wasn't going to be the guy who said, hey, let's go after Matt Corral? Do you think that's a Bill Belichick move, or do you look at Bill Bryan, who of course came out of the SEC, was in Alabama or at Alabama? Do you think it was his decision? Like, who's making the calls on these major offensive moves?
Bill Belichick makes every call, from what they're having for breakfast to moving on from Tom Brady. All calls are Bill's. He'll take input. He'll take recommendations. He may even defer. But I think that ultimately it's Bill Belichick's call. Now, if Bill O'Brien says, Bill, look at this throw and this throw and this throw from Bailey, in the meetings it's not coming clear for him, we can release him, put him on the practice squad and keep developing him. And if Bill says, yeah, good, seeing the same thing, I don't know whose decision that necessarily is. But I would imagine that there was consensus that they had to do something. What's interesting to me is what Phil pointed out. Look, they have a starting quarterback. They have a starting quarterback for this year, for 2024, and if they want to keep going, they have one for 2025. Mac Jones is their starting quarterback, in my estimation. I think the estimations of people who are watching what he's done so far in his career and understand how good he is. But if these guys can develop, then you can have a successor. And neither of them are at a spot right now. If Mac does get hurt, I would promise you, then they'd go for a veteran quarterback. They would not go with a straight face with either Bailey Zappe or Matt Corral as their starter week 2 if either one got hurt.
Yeah, I wonder, too, if his background, Corral's background, was at all interesting to them, having played for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin obviously has experience at Alabama. At Alabama, it's been very clear for many years now that Nick Saban has said, I got to cycle offensive coordinators through my system almost every single year, it feels like. So whoever's here, you're going to run my offense. You're not bringing your offense to Alabama. I'm going to tell you what to do. So I'm wondering now if there's any crossover, if there's any shared language between Bill O'Brien and Matt Corral because of they're not their shared experience at Alabama, but that common situation in their background. That would be interesting to me to find out.